Hey, my handsome ladies and gentlemen, this is Shmeaty, and finally, after 2 weeks, Fossil Cup has ended. If this team on your screen looks familiar, it's for very good reason. I stole it from Home Slice Henry, as I wanted to test it out in the Open Great League to see what results I could get with the team. All that being said, these battles were recorded quite some time ago, as when I finally got the footage recorded, Great League had disappeared from rotation for 2 weeks in favor of Fossil Cup. I know, everybody's favorite decision by Niantic. Nevertheless, we're going to be taking a look at this team in the Open Great League today. If you find enjoyment in today's video, please feel free to leave it a like and subscribe. But without keeping you too much longer, let's hop into these matches. We're going to be kicking things off with game number 1, as Vigoroth is going to lead into a non-Shadow Venusaur. This is pretty awkward. However, with Vigoroth's pacing advantage, this isn't necessarily the worst matchup ever. I'm going to build up well past the initial body slam. They are going to fire off the Frenzy Plant here, and I'm fine with this. I'll just commit a shield, and I know I'll be able to throw back-to-back moves before they're able to reach their second move here. So we are going to fire off the body slam. It gets no shielded by the Venusaur, but now this second body slam will have to be respected. Body slam onto the Venusaur is going to grab a shield, and that is about as much as I can hope for my Vigoroth to accomplish in this matchup. I am going to let this Frenzy Plant go, knowing it'll KO my Vigoroth. And now we're just going to bring in Shadow Gligar. They're going to bring in Clodsire, the aggressive pivot of a terrible matchup into Gligar. I can't say I know what the opposing trainer's cooking right now. All I know is the kitchen's on fire. We are going to build up so much energy on our Gligar, and Clodsire really doesn't want to commit shields in this matchup. We're going to fire off the dig, but they're shielding. How weak to Gligar can one team be? So far, this team is ABA poison. It seems as if this trainer has been team building without factoring Gligar into the Open Great League equation. They're going to fire off another Stone Edge, but since they're on Mud Shot, we are not going to be KO'd there. They are going to be able to make another move versus Feraligatr, but this is why we aggressively pivoted our Feraligatr in. Stone Edge will get the shield from us, and we are going to be able to get the farm down. In comes Azumarill, but as we've learned on this channel, Azumarill is not safe versus Shadow Feraligatr. We have such a massive energy advantage. We are going to be able to fire off likely 3 Hydro Cannons before Azu can make a singular move. They're already down below 50% HP. They're going to be able to fire off this Play Rough. Play Rough will do a lot of damage, but not quite KO. We're glassy, but not that glassy. They are going to switch into their Venusaur and catch my Hydro Cannon. Oh, I have the reactions of a 92-year-old man, but we're still fine. We're going to be able to make the Hydro Cannon. Psych, we're going to defer the bubble onto the Gligar, and we didn't need to do that because that bubble didn't KO. That's just playing this game more risky than we needed to. We almost tossed. GG's. Uh-oh, there's a problem in the next match. It's going to be Vigoroth leading into its worst nightmare in Annihilate. Annihilate, of course, going to build up to the Night Slash and fire it off here. This is a Night Slash where oftentimes you will see me respect it, and oh no, it's a Dugong. Dugong unfortunately made me lights out for this game. They are going to put up a shield on our Crunch, and we are going to be able to CMP tie them to another Crunch here and hopefully grab another shield. Unfortunately, they are not going to fall for it. They've gotten 0 debuffs. This is terrible for me. I'm going to no shield hoping it's an icy win, but it is not. I am going to have to take this opportunity to get an energy head start on my Vigoroth here. However, this is so terrible. Dugong has done the one thing it necessitates doing in this team composition, and that's maintaining switch advantage. We are going to no shield everything on our Vigoroth and just aggressively tap our Gligar button as hard as we can, and in comes the Annihilate. We're going to bring in Gligar. It's Bastiodon in the back. Of course, we all know this line, and we are going to build up well past the initial dig and fire off our energy on alignment. Slight miscalculation from me causes the opponent to get a pretty big advantage there. They may not have been able to make this move if I didn't throw my energy on alignment there. That's very unfortunate. Also unfortunate, we will need more than 1 dig to KO here. Bastiodon is just too healthy here. We will need 2 digs. We're going to overfarm as much as we possibly can, and oh no, we just can't overfarm enough. And unfortunately, this was a little bit of the story of my life while trying to run this team. I was in an ELO where this particular team comp was so unfortunately common. You're going to see me give up there. And on to the next match. Galarian Stunfisk on the lead in game number 3, and this is not ideally where we would want to see this Pokemon, but I am going to stay in here with Vigoroth and just look to put in as much work as I can with the Vigoroth, soft lose, and get an energy advantage on either of my 2-back Pokemon. I don't mind the fact that this is going to absolutely be an Earthquake. Earthquake is of course threatening, but we don't really care about this Vigoroth right now. Vigoroth is a counter user that is aligned onto the G-Fisk, and its job is now done. So we're going to let this Rock Slide go, and now we can look to probably get a Wing Attack down on Gligar. Yep, old me is thinking the same thing. 4 Wing Attacks, nearly a perfect farm down there, and they are going to bring in Azu, but as we know, Azu isn't safe versus the absolute menace of the Great League, Shadow Feraligatr. We're going to build up to that potential Ice Beam and bait with a Hydro Cannon. Bait so nice. I think we're gonna go for it twice, boyos. They are gonna fire off their energy, and I am going to commit a shield. This actually incentivizes them to shield and think that I was baiting last time, so I'm gonna fire off another Hydro Cannon onto this Altaria, and to add insult to injury, we're gonna get to this Crunch, and this Crunch will show them that they wasted 2 shields for absolutely nothing. I was bluffing the entire time, and we get the debuff. A little bit unnecessary because I was gonna have to throw this energy before they made a move of their own, but hey, whatever. We are going to get the Aerial Ace to KO the Altaria, and in comes the Azumarill, but we now have an energy advantage, and we have a shield and they don't. Now I know Dig does nearly bring them down to 50% with the Wing Attack damage, and now Azumarill is out of move. This is not looking too good. If Azumarill makes another Ice Beam here, we're cooked. We're going to throw 3. We know they're 2 away, so we CMP tie. Get as much Wing Attack damage as we can. Is it going to KO? They just live. Oh my goodness. It's got to be like 2 or 3 HP. And Azu is going to reach that Ice Beam to pick up the KO on Gligar. GG's to this trainer. Oh man, things going from bad to worse, as it's going to be a Core Breaker on the next lead. It's going to be Shadow Poliwrath. I'm sorry, non-Shadow Poliwrath. I've been playing way too much Fossil Cup. Shadow Poliwrath, not as common in the open Great League. We're going to fire off this Aerial Ace and grab a shield, and they are going to commit to the Icy Wind. Hopefully they're just core broken by Gligar, and we can keep our Gligar on this Poliwrath. Unfortunately, that's a little bit too much copium, I suppose. We're going to be able to fire off this Aerial Ace, but now that we're debuffed, this is a non-Shadow Jumpluff. Jumpluff, underratedly bulky. It's just kind of bad. They are going to fire off the Energy Ball. It does a lot of damage onto the Gligar, but we are able to tank it. We're going to fire off this Aerial Ace on what looks to be CMP. So this Aerial Ace, of course, not going to be enough to KO. Jumpluff, far too thick for that. They are going to fire off another move here, and I have a decision to make. I am going to let that move through, bring in Feraligatr, look for the Shadow Claw down, and I think we just got 3 Shadow Claws there. Okay, we're cooking. In comes the Poliwrath to try to wall all of our energy, but we're going to build up to the CMP tie once again and fire off this Hydro Cannon. This means that if they went for the debuff, we are absolutely fine with that. I am going to put up a shield here. If it's the Scald, it would do a lot of damage. It's the Icy Wind, and in the back is a Typhlosion. But Typhlosion only sneaking through the 1 Incinerate. We are going to throw 2. Look for the catch onto the Vigoroth, and we are right back in this game. This is going to do some sizable damage, but Shadow Typhlosion is so frail, we're going to be able to make that last second Body Slam. I threw it on alignment for God knows why, but it will pick up the KO. In comes the Poliwrath looking for the counter down, but Uno reverse card, they get counter down instead. It's going to be a Lickitung on the next lead into our Vigoroth. They are going to immediately switch into their Clodsire, and we're just going to build up, bank a Body Slam for later, and bring in Clodsire's worst nightmare. This is probably why you don't see this Pokemon as often as you probably would otherwise. Gligar being in this meta absolutely tears Clodsire to pieces. We're going to fire off a dig onto the Clodsire. They're committing a shield and CMP tying and losing. Oh my goodness, things could not possibly be getting much worse for them. Not entirely sure why I decided to shield there. They're not on Poison Sting, so they have no fast move pressure whatsoever. That's perfectly fine. We're going to be able to fire off another dig, nearly picking up the KO, and we know that this Stone Edge will not KO. It'll be close, but it is not going to be enough to KO. Stone Edge, they're going to try to bring in the Lickitung for the lick down, but that's fine. We're going to bring in our Vigoroth. We had the Body Slam loaded for a reason, and this is such a good matchup because Lickitung forced to throw the resisted fast move of Lick while we're hitting back for super effective damage, and we're both throwing the same charge move, Body Slam. We are going to overfarm quite a bit and fire off another Body Slam onto this Lickitung. Such a terrible matchup for the Lickitung is Vigoroth. They're going to be able to reach a last second Body Slam here, but I'm okay with no shielding this. They are going to get off this last Body Slam and allow us to farm them all the way down. In comes a Feraligatr, but Feraligatr on Shadow Claw, this is why normal types are so good in the meta. Oh my goodness, they're down a shield versus an opposing Feraligatr. They're going to fire off a move here, but that's fine. We're going to no-shield it. It is going to do quite a bit of damage. We're going to build up past the crunch. They tried to catch onto the Clodsire and resign the match. GG's. We catch this next Pokemon exactly where we need to see it. Guzzlord on lead versus our Vigoroth. They are going to immediately switch out into a Jellicent, and we just have the perfect response in Shadow Feraligatr. Now they are going to be able to pace quicker to a move here, and you are going to see me commit a shield. It is the Shadow Ball. And we are going to build up quite a bit of energy and fire off this Hydro Cannon. Now you might think that this is a bit of an idiotic bait, but look at how much Hydro Cannon does. We are going to have to commit another move here, unfortunately, so maybe Crunch was the better play, but we can potentially force a shield here. Unfortunately, they're not going to bite. They have the Guzzlord to wall all of our energy, but since we haven't shown Crunch, we can build up to what could potentially be an Ice Beam and bait with the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon itself would still do a lot of damage here. We're going to be able to throw 2 Shadow Claws and another, and honestly, Guzzlord is not a fan of taking this damage. Look at how much that does. In comes the Vigoroth to try to get the counter down. They're going to be able to fire off a move onto us, but we're not fazed by it. They're going to throw the Crunch. We're still above 50% HP, and they are going to be met with a Body Slam here. Body Slam is going to grab that last shield from the Guzzlord. Guzzlord staying in and throwing moves, but here, I don't have to respect it. I was not debuffed by that last Crunch. They're going to need another one to KO, and indeed it is another one. But this is fortunate for us. You might think that this is our worst nightmare seeing a Feraligatr here, but nope. We are just going to be able to build up to the dig, one-shot the Feraligatr. Back in comes the Guzzlord, but not for long because they top left. GG's. You've reached the final game of the video, and it is a tricky lead just for the occasion. It is going to be Vigoroth leading into Goodra, the battle of charge move pressure versus fast move pressure. They are going to no-shield our first Body Slam and correctly count just before we're able to make our next Body Slam. Pristine counting by the opposing trainer. They're going to fire off the Aqua Tail, but they're not at 2 here, so they will have to commit a shield if they want my Vigoroth gone here. I'm okay with taking a shield from them, as my backline really does like having a shield advantage. Oh, but the one thing this team likes better than a shield advantage is proper alignment versus a Skarmory. This Skarmory is going to make a pretty heads-up catch onto their own Gator, catching my Hydro Cannon where it is going to be resisted, but it still does a solid enough amount of damage where I feel comfortable bringing in my Gligar, going for the Aerial Ace on what would be CMP to their Hydro Cannon, trying to grab that last bit of energy and bait them into throwing it with that CMP, and they are going to build up to the back-to-back moves, but here, a very interesting pretty rare glitch happens here. They're going to fire off the Hydro Cannon, right? And we're going to fire off our Aerial Ace. But check this out. Before a fast move is even thrown, they're able to... I'm tapping my screen. What is this? They're able to get another Hydro Cannon off? That's fine. They would have been able to tap it before the move would have been clicked anyway. So we are going to bring in our Gator, fire off this Hydro Cannon, and before the Skarmory will ever make 2 moves, we'll be able to reach 2 Hydros. But they're even a lot more threatened down by the fact that we will likely be able to Shadow Claw down. Oh no, the BM no shield. They had enough for the Brave Bird. Shmeaty playing into every loose con and still taking the game. GG's to this trainer. Now that the RPS nonsense that is the Fossil Cup for 2 weeks in a row is out of rotation, I thought it would be a great idea to put out a video on a Great League team that you guys can use to climb ELO. And of course, this team was taken from Home Slice Henry. Big shout out to him. Not only has he inspired me to create content of my own, but I did kind of steal his team. And I slid into his DM not too long ago and asked him if I could steal his team for a video. And he was like, yeah, sure, dude. So big thank you to him, of course. Last thing I wanted to get out the way with this team, it is very strong and very potent, and I am a believer in it. However, I personally had to stop running the team because at the time I was in like the 2600 ELO bracket, and every single human being I queued into was running the Annihilate, Dugong, Bastiodon team, and that is an exceedingly difficult team to deal with this team because you will just never have Switch. Dugong ensures that you don't have Switch, and your Gligar that's likely going to be going up against the Annihilate and Bastiodon will just end up getting overloaded. So it requires you playing very well and the opponent playing very bad in order for you to win. All that being said, I've rambled on long enough. Thanks again so much for watching. This has been Shmeaty. I hope to see you guys again next time, and have a good rest of your day. Bye.